Hi, friends! It's important to note the views, opinions, and positions expressed in this podcast called Mood Food are in no way the views, opinions, and positions of the Department of the Air Force, Department of Defense, or the United States government, including the resources listed today.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Mood Food. I'm your host, Jason Gordon, and we want to tell you that we are coming to you from the beautiful island of Coronado here at Breakers Beach on NAS North Island. What a beautiful day this has been. We decided to kind of change up the scenery to do some broadcasts to make you maybe want to go towards the YouTube channel as well. But keep downloading us from all the other platforms. That way you can hear us and listen to us from anywhere you are going to be. Thanks to all of you who have subscribed and liked us and follow us. We really appreciate that. Continue to leave those reviews, because Othel will be reading one later on in today's broadcast. And, one thing about sitting in the grass is you start itching and everything. So forgive me if I start scratching my neck and there's ants and everything else here. But hey, sometimes I want a change of scenery and I want to be able to be outdoors and to bring some more positive light where we mostly need it here in this life. So hopefully that today you'll be able to sit back and enjoy what I'm going to be talking to you about today, which is controlling your anger. And all of us have some tendencies to really get worked up and amped as life throws us these curveballs and these situations that otherwise can definitely give us those unwanted reactions. And so I'm hoping that each and every one of you will continue to review all the episodes as we've been putting them out. We've hit number 25. When this one airs, it'll be number 26. Can you believe that? We are broadcasting all over the world, and we have you to thank for that. So some tips for managing your anger. Today, how anger is going to affect you, how it affects me personally. I do not like it. It sets up the mood to just be a negative mood. And I can go from 0 to 60 pretty quickly. And so what I've tried to do is try to write down a few of the tips that I use to help dial it back some before I become too reactionary and I do and say things that otherwise can be very destructive to relationships, whether it's your personal or work related. I just want to make sure that I share with you we're all work in progress. And I need to review this more and more because a lot of times I fail at it and I get very reactionary. So today, I just want you to know that it's okay to be angry sometimes, but it's not okay if you tear down people and you react the way that otherwise belittles people. That is not a productive way to handle your anger, no matter who is at fault. So it's okay to feel angry sometimes. That's normal. However, the way that you behave and react to the anger can be the problem. And if you react too strongly to the anger, you cannot control your anger. That can cause relationship problems at home and at work with your kiddos. And anger can also affect your overall health, your physical health. Uncontrolled anger can increase your heart rate, cause increased cases of heart disease, high blood pressure. And when you do get angry, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases, and your energy hormones, your adrenaline is released and also increases. And so when this happens, your heart has to work harder and your mind is racing, which is really working hard. It's exhausting to get angry, isn't it? I mean, have you ever thought how exhausting reactions can be? And if you dial them back before you react, you're going to have more energy to work through it productively. So in extreme cases, anger can actually cause blood vessels to become very, very narrow. This reduces the blood supply and oxygen to the heart. That can trigger chest pain and angina, which is that fast heartbeat. Anger can also trigger stress-related problems such as headaches, poor digestion, and trouble sleeping. How many of you out there have that issue because you've had such a bad day? It affects your sleeping at night. So what actions can be taken? What can you do to take ownership of your anger and your reactions? Well, you can take actions to help manage your anger by expressing your anger. And what I mean by that is when you express your anger in a healthy way, it is a form of communication. And the following strategies hopefully will help you find that level of communication that's going to be beneficial to you so that your reaction won't be as severe as it normally has been. So in a healthy way, you can step away from it. And when you are feeling reactive, it may take at least 20 minutes for your body to return to its normal level of activities. And that means your heart rate lowers, your blood pressure lowers. And to help your body do this, take a walk, take a time out, step away from the situation that triggered you, and listen to music, stretch, take deep breaths, and avoid the situations or person who is making you angry and elevated. The more you interact in that situation, goodness gracious, you're going to be the next shuttle mission or rocket mission to Mars. It's going to really make you take off from that launch pad if you don't remove yourself from the situation. So you want to make sure that you try these calming techniques and recognize what calming looks like to you and get there. Use the steps to get there. Try to consider how others feel before you react as well. Have you ever been in a situation, and I know I have, where I've reacted very, very angrily? And it got to where people knew that I was going to be mad over certain situations, so they kind of removed themselves from the room. I didn't like how that made me feel, because it made me feel like that they feared me, or they just didn't want to deal with the reaction. And so I really had to do some accountability and a self-check to make sure that I don't want people to come to work dreading to be working around me because of my reactions. And so I had to really dial that back. And I chose to make sure that I explained that to them, and I apologized to them that I didn't want them to come into work not wanting to tell me things because they feared my reaction. And so I had to restore those relationships and put back in that trust, and that reassurance that that a lot of the anger maybe they felt that was going to be directed towards them was towards the situation and not them. It was just a big mess, and I've worked very hard not to do that as much. But I am human, and sometimes, boy, those reactions can really come out. And you want to choose a good time to work through your problems too. Always survey the room, always survey who's there, and look at the audience, because the last thing you want to do is say something and do something that could be very detrimental to your relationship with your work partners, with your personal life at home, your kids. You always want to make sure you do that. You may be more likely to lose your temper at the end of the day when you're tired also. And so a lot of times I know in my line of work in mental health as a provider, sometimes at 16:15 or 16:30, that's when things usually pop off before the end of the day. And so we don't hear from a lot of the agencies until the end of the day, because they've been trying to solve this problem on their own. And so a lot of times that can really get us worked up. And then also too, you want to make sure that if that's the case, that you decompress before you go home. You don't want to take all that stress and anger and anxiety and issues home and take it out on your family. They're going to be able to read your facial expressions and your body language the moment you walk into the room when you get off from work. You want to keep an anger journal. Write down the situations that make you angry, and it can really help you figure out what triggers your anxiety, your anger, and the why behind why you react the way you react. Consider changing your perception of things too. I've had to do that. I've had to realize that the day is not always going to be perfect, and that I had to change my perception. And I had to realize, hey, I'm in this line of work because I picked it. I love my occupation, but it can really get to you sometimes. So I had to change my perception of the entire situation, my job, what I am going to expect when I go into work. And is there any way I can view the situation that will leave a different emotion? And I did. I actually have really evaluated these situations that come up, and I look at it from a different perspective, which helps me to feel a different emotion about it. And sometimes changing the way you think about the situation can make it seem less infuriating. Less infuriating. That's encouraging, right? And here are some ways to do that. You want to remind yourself constantly that everyone is not out to get you. That the day is not bad because it just didn't like you. The day doesn't like you. Karma doesn't like you. Whatever. And remind yourself that a disappointing result is not the end of the world. Take steps to solve or prevent the situation that upsets you. And find the humor in an aggravating situation. I've learned to do that more and more. I do like to have fun at work. I do like to stay positive. But boy, when things hit the fan, it's hard to do that. So I try to find more humor in the situations now, more than ever. I deal with the physical effects by taking deep breaths and exercising or taking a walk. I started doing push-ups and sit-ups in my office throughout the day. And it really helps to work off some of that idle energy that may be building up. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want that energy to build up and then that be my idle speed. I need to work it off as I experience it. Slowly repeat the word relax or other calming phrases and picture a relaxing image in your mind. Close your eyes and use the image to help yourself calm down. And what we're here today at the beach, this is very perfect. I love guided imagery. I love closing my eyes and imagining being somewhere that's relaxing. And it really does take you away from that moment. Your body's going to believe that you're there. Your brain is. It's going to start reacting and releasing permission, basically, to relax. Take some deep breaths and to really calm down from the situation that otherwise got you worked up. So why are these changes that you need to do towards anger important? Well, anger becomes a problem if it occurs frequently and lasts for long periods of time. These bugs are really getting to me. Sorry about that. Random squirrel. No, there's a story about a squirrel too. I need to share that with you later on. And so you may also need help managing your anger if you use physical force or aggression when you're angry and others feel threatened or fearful. You feel that anger is out of control and getting worse. Anger is interfering with your job, with your health, relationships. That anger is affecting your ability to tolerate normal daily situations, such as sitting in a traffic jam. And Lord knows here in California, get used to it. Or waiting in line. That's going to be at the post office. That's going to be at the cell phone companies. That's going to be wherever. Because now with COVID-19, it really has added more restrictions. And they're really cutting back on allowing certain number of people in certain establishments. And so you do have to wait in line. You do have to have some patience. All right. So you want to make sure that you try to treat yourself with respect. Don't disrespect yourself by reacting in an angry way. And you don't go and jump to that point to where you stop trusting people. That's why these changes are important, because if you do that, you're always going to grab that easy reminder of anger off the shelf and react. And then people aren't going to trust you. You're not going to trust them because of past reactions. So it may help you to ask someone you trust whether he or she thinks you show any of these signs. And sometimes it can be hard to recognize the problem if you're going through it yourself, right? So where to find support? Well, you can either make an appointment with a therapist, which I highly recommend if you are having anger management issues, or you can talk to your chaplain or your pastor or someone with your religious affiliation. But get help. Don't fight this alone. I want you to know there's support out there for you. And hopefully the tips that I've shared with you today have been very helpful to you as we all go through and have these angry times. And so when we come back, I'm going to read you a couple of quotes, but right now Othel is going to read us today's review. So Othel, without further ado, take it away and give us a good review today.
Today, I'm going to be reading a review posted by Hi Kimmy, and it states, Hi Kimmy, grateful for this podcast. Relevant topics and well presented, relaxed and informal. Having guests on the show is a great idea. Very relatable, smiley face emoji. This podcast goes down smooth like hot buttermilk biscuits. We want to thank Hi Kimmy for the great review. If you would like your review read on an episode of Mood Food, please email your comments to moodfoodpodcast@gmail.com or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for tuning in.
And thank you, Othel, for reading today's review. And we're going to leave you here today with a couple of quotes. And this was from quoteling.com. Anger doesn't solve anything. It builds nothing, but it can destroy everything. And the other one is speak when you are angry, and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. That was by Ambrose Bierce. And though, folks, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for tuning in today's podcast of Mood Food. We really appreciate you, and thank you for everything that you have so graciously done for this podcast and program. Please keep reviewing all the materials that I've been sharing with you, and keep your minds full of positive mental food. We've got some great episodes coming up, and we appreciate you taking time today to tune in. Until next episode of Mood Food, I'm your host, Jason Gordon.